So hey,
Hey,
Joseph Keckler,
hey,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm
It's nice
perfect.
to see you. It's nice to see you, even though I worry about you there in New York City with the epicenter of the pandemic and the economy, America collapsing. But other than that, how are you?
Good. I'm excellent.
Good. How are you holding up in this pandemic? Has it changed your life
Mm-hmm.
as an artist
As an artist,
or as Joseph?
well, I felt really good for a long time in the pandemic. Being in my apartment alone, I felt somehow free and exhilarated. Not happy about all the bad things that were happening, but I felt,
No, but
I don't know, I felt self-sustaining and a great sense of possibility to change myself or for other things to change.
right.
And
Yeah.
as it wears on, but the other thing though, I feel that this time is sort of like an afterlife. So I also am sitting in this apartment for, months on end, days on end. It's kind of all very dreamlike. And I also look at other points in my life, other times, and I kind of view myself as a character. And I look back at choices or anything, so I really feel removed. I really feel like I'm on a kind of service road of life right now. And it's not totally good or bad, but,
The
Yeah.
psychologist Carl Jung, who I am quite a fan of, he has a phrase I'm going to translate from German as best I can, but isolation animates the psychic environment. To me, is an idea that I've lived by as an artist, and the more time that I am alone and concentrating, the environment starts to become alive. You project. You mentioned thinking about your past, and everything starts to come alive, and I think that's why people want to avoid it. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. I guess I don't feel very afraid to be alone with myself in general.
No, not you.
Not
You're a mystical kind of a guy.
somehow am oriented that way, and also I'm not that great with people. I mean, being around.
Yes, you are.
I mean, but
yes, you are.
I mean, going places, tying your shoes, being around all those people,
That you're
lurking around in the corner, and I don't know. It's a lot.
You're not. I know you. You're not lurking around the corner. You're sitting at the hipster cocktail lounge, and they're all listening to you say this kind of thing. Talk about how you're lurking, and everyone says, "Oh, delightful."
Peals of laughter. Yeah. Sometimes.
No, sorry. Please go on.
No,
So anyway, you're lurking.
Sometimes,
So you're lurking and
lurking hard, and
lurking hard, hardly lurking.
And but I don't mind being alone is the thing for me. But I do think that probably on a chemical level, I should have some human contact sometime. I just
we know those times.
sometime.
Hey, listen, before we go any further, let's play the audience some of your work. If it's okay with you, I'd like to watch the Goth song to start.
Okay, sounds good.
I need you to organize the German section. I also need you not to be sleeping at work.
I'm sorry. I was just taking a little early lunch break. I had a little piece of food there on the desk. But I swallowed it just the moment you appeared.
Es wurde schwierig zu arbeiten. Ich wollte nur noch Vinylkleider im Internet kaufen. Ich dachte, ich muss diese Vinylkleider haben. Plötzlich war ich St. Marx. Keine Ahnung, wie ich dahin kam. Ich habe mich verschoben, ein Hemd mit einem Sandkreuz und Bondagehosen zu kaufen. Ich habe einen Rückfall. Ich war ein Grufti. In der Stadt. Ich hörte alte Bands. Ich war nostalgisch für die Jugend eines anderen. Plötzlich war ich St. Marx. Wie kam ich nur dahin? Nun hatte ich kein Geld, aber ich hatte das
So we've been listening to the Goth song, and why German?
For that song, I've always loved Schubert and all the songs about wandering, and since that was a song about my own wandering, even though it was a short wandering of a few blocks, I thought I want to invoke this grand tradition of the wanderer and of the romantic German song. And I also, with my opera stuff, because it's always autobiographical and I want to create some kind of distance and exaggeration, I like to channel my own experiences through a highfalutin form and through different styles.
Hey, where did you grow up?
Kalamazoo. Near Kalamazoo.
I knew it. I knew that. I just wanted to hear you say, Joseph is from Kalamazoo. Opera classical opera is obviously such an influence on your work, and yet you're an avant-garde artist, but obviously you have a deep connection to classical opera. And I wanted to ask you how in Kalamazoo this came about, or what was there a first experience you had with opera?
Well, you know what I mean. Strangely enough, I was, as a child, obsessed with voices and very drawn to voices. So, for instance, I was really interested in Mel Blanc, who voiced all the Looney Tune characters. And I became fascinated by the idea of shape-shifting through voice and being able to inhabit these different personalities just through vocal means. And I was really into blues singers as a child, and soul singers and different kind of singers, not opera singers. Although I do remember that one time in the cafeteria when I was in middle school, this kid came up to me and said, "What kind of music do you listen to?" And I think I just started rattling off. I mean, it was no more cool. I was like, "Oh, Cab Calloway," and and he just he cut me off and he said, "Nah."
He didn't know any of this.
He didn't care, and he cut me off and he said, "Nah, you're into opera." And so it was kind of like he was kind of like either cursing me or just prophesizing or something, but it later...
It's the lowest.
It was the lowest, yeah. And I thought, no, I'm not, but... And then as a teenager, my voice, although I didn't really know how to use my voice, when I would make sounds, although I wasn't trying to, the voice sounded kind of operatic. I mean, I loved Screamin' Jay Hawkins, and he had that sort of operatic sound. And I had a lot of trouble making it through a song because I would sing in a very aggressive way, and I'd get real hoarse. And so my aunt, who was a local actress, studied with this voice teacher in Kalamazoo. And so I started taking lessons with her for like, $20 an hour. And so she introduced me.
That's a lot for Kalamazoo.
You get what you pay for. So
what I saw you do in Brooklyn, back in your more humble days at least, I saw you bring this art form to a burlesque stage, basically, like burlesque theaters, like Galapagos, and what were the others in Brooklyn at that time that you were performing at?
Well, where did we perform? Galapagos and whatever. I mean, the Delancey, all those music and just random clubs. And...
How did audiences in Brooklyn in these, avant-garde burlesque clubs respond when you were singing opera?
Well, I think the tone in New York really shifted where, first of all, like where now there's in Brooklyn clubs, there's this kind of eagerness, openness, kind of cheering on. But at that moment, a lot of times people were sort of sneering and impatient. And so I don't know. I think there were moments where they had little patience for it. And then at a certain point, I kind of clicked. They're drunk. They want to see, in the burlesque things, for instance, they wanted to see, tits. Yeah, so, and I just always really liked the idea of being able to do something unexpected contextually. I think that was where which you're a master of, and which was inspiring to me. But that
you've got a new project from what I understand called Train with No Midnight. What is this about?
Well, it's a kind of, it's sort of abstract. It's in part about one time when I took a train on New Year's Eve, and it transitioned time zones so that there was no midnight. In America now, which particularly even today as we're recording this, people have just stormed the Capitol, and a woman was shot there, and
what?
Yeah, I saw that when we took a break just now. So there's been this kind of buzz for years about that we're moving towards another civil war. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I was just trying to write about the fact that people are saying that.
People like yourself are an inspiration to me because you're I mean, you say you're dark, but you're not a cynical person in my mind. But a lot of people there are so cynical, and I felt I could see something like this kind of coming.
Because all the elements of it have been here the whole time. I think.
Yeah.
Can
I say one more thing? I want to get back to
sure.
But the room that I'm in right now, this place Zentralwerk in Dresden, this place, it's a huge place that I'm in right now. It's huge. And they've made it into kind of an artist colony. I can have my wonderful studio here and stuff. But this place has been many, many things. And among those things, during the Holocaust, this was a slave labor site where they made weapons. And I'm in a basically a bunker right now. The walls are this thick, and they used to march the Jews along a certain route that you can trace to this building where they, I'm sorry, worked them to death. And and every day in Germany, my girlfriend and I are walking, and I look under my feet, and some of the cobblestones are gold and have a name on them, and that's a person who was drug out of such and such a house here. This was the site that they were. There's a little plaque next to where we are of a man who had mental illness, or no, he had learning disabilities. It's a little plaque that the Nazis took him away and exterminated him. And I mean, when you live in Eastern Europe for a while, you just think, well, just a generation or two ago, wow, what happened? You have a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. And then that's ramping up there as well now. The specter of fascism, which somehow I wouldn't expect, but yeah.
Well, listen. It's been so great to have you, and I hope you come back on the program. I feel so stupid saying it, but I really do. But listen, before we go, I wanted to play one more piece that you just recorded recently called New Year's Eve Lament, and that'll take us out. But I wanted to call up my friend Constanze. I wanted her to record a reaction video, which I see is all the craze these days on YouTube.
Right.
I want her to record a reaction video to you, to your New Year's Eve lament, okay?
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Capodanno, una roba seria, un
This is the guy from New York. It's beautiful. Is he an Italian? He looks like an Italian. And he sings so beautiful. And his eyes. But what is this about? He seems sad.
Forse sarò più presente.
He wants to adopt a highway.
Una strada.
What is he doing now? Oh. Oh. How beautiful. That was it?